What up? What up? What up? It's your boy, the talented Mr. Taco here. I got a fan favorite, Dave, on with us today. He's been on a bunch of our shows. Figured we have him on here and close out the season, have a little fun, break down some of the crazy COVIDness that's been going on and all sorts of injuries that have plagued. I want to say the playoff season, this championship season, and yeah, it's gonna be good. Dave, how you feeling today, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, the COVID stuff is crazy,
Yeah.
and the really just the AFC. The AFC is nuts right now. Like even the Cleveland Browns have a chance to win their division still.
Yeah, I mean, how interesting is that? That tonight's game is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Browns, and basically the losers out of the playoffs.
Yep.
And the winner will, go through the craziness next week because you figure the Ravens should still be in it, and you're going to be looking at possibly the Bengals might be the division winner at this point in time if they're able to handle business. But the Bengals have a tough matchup this week versus the Chiefs, and then who's whatchamacallit playing this week?
The Steelers.
Yeah, no, not the Steelers. The
Ravens.
Yeah,
the Ravens played the Rams, and they got Tyler Huntley starting.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one as well. I think that the Rams should be able to pull that out. So you're looking at the top two teams losing. The winner of that game is really going to be in a big situation. And then next week, I got to look at that. But that's going to be a really interesting division to see how that all breaks down. Because it's going to be 1,000,000 to 1 possibilities.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I'm personally hoping that the Ravens lose. Because the Chargers need the Ravens and the Dolphins to drop one in the next 2 weeks. So,
I mean, the Dolphins are another team that they can't afford to lose. They got the matchup versus Tennessee, which is going to be interesting.
And then New England next week.
Yeah, I mean that's real tough, and New England's going to need to get a couple of wins in there if they want the division as well.
Yep,
everyone's playing for something. I'll say this: the AFC is so close that it's just like a little bit of anything can nudge the needle.
I think the only team in the AFC that's clinched a playoff berth is the Chiefs right now. Thanks to the Chargers.
I think Tennessee is like right there too.
Yeah,
it's
if they win today and the Colts lose against who are the Colts playing?
The Colts are playing the Raiders.
Oh yeah, the Colts aren't going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, and the Raiders don't even have whatchamacallit, Darren Waller this week.
Yep, and Carson Wentz is back.
Without Waller, oh my God.
Carson Wentz came off the COVID list yesterday.
Yeah. I gotta say this though: the Waller injury / COVID has decimated a lot of teams in the championship run because people spent big capital on him. Yeah, and he was out at the end too, so it was like you're making your push, you're getting into the playoffs, and he's out, and you're thinking. Because they didn't put him on IR or anything like that. They were kind of like, you're out, you're week to week. We're going to see what happens. And then, I think it was a false sense of security because in one league, I kind of was holding on to him 2 weeks ago thinking like, hey, maybe he might be back. And it doesn't even seem like it's coming close. Obviously, this time he got COVID, but Lord knows he just missed the entire playoffs for a lot of teams. So how did your lineups come out so far? Like, did you have any
just a few minutes. Just give me a few minutes. Sorry.
Oh, trust me.
So my lineups, let me pull. I got one up on my computer, and so I'm in 2 leagues. Now I'm not actually the owners of these leagues. I'm the GM, if you want to call it that.
Right.
So my buddies are paying me 25% of the winnings if I win, and I'm in the championship in both leagues.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So it's an 8-team league, so this is going to sound a little stacked. I got Herbert, Eckler, Mixon, Jefferson, Allen, Kelsey. I'm flip-flopping between DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I can't decide which one I want. I know DeAndre Swift's just coming off an injury, and Amon-Ra St. Brown's coming off 2 straight hot weeks, maybe 3.
Yeah, 3.
And then I got the Dolphins defense, and then I got the Chargers kicker.
Damn. So on that matchup, because I think that's an interesting point to speak on, because you're talking about 2 Detroit Lions. They're both going against the Seahawks.
Yep.
Swift, I mean, when he's been healthy, he's shown some great flashes. Brown, like you said, he's been hot. We're looking at about 3 weeks now of him being really good. Yeah. Quarterback-wise, I'm not 100% who's quarterbacking over there, but it seems like it doesn't matter because even when Goff was out, he still went off. So I think it's hard to bench Brown when he's been that hot, but who do you have in?
Yeah. I'm thinking I have him starting right now. I have Brown starting right now.
Yeah.
And the biggest factor for me is that Swift is just coming off an injury.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to be on a snap count. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's going to do.
Yep. And speaking of coming off of injuries, I'm going to pull up right quick the injury report. So right here is a quick breakdown on some of the inactives and actives. As you see, Lamar Jackson is out of the game, like we had mentioned. So this is definitely a game where we expect the Rams defense to be a good play. And, I think those Rams running backs are going to be good plays. So I just don't know how much offense Hundley's going to be able to put up against that good Rams defense.
I think Sony Michel's the starter there now, right? I know Darrell Henderson hasn't done. I was looking at it the other day. He hasn't really. He's gotten the lesser of the snaps between the two. And then I saw a report earlier today that said Cam Akers is not going to play today.
Yep. So basically, what happened is Henderson has been losing snaps to Sony Michel since he got hurt, and then now I think this week he has COVID. So you're looking at pretty much a full go week on Sony Michel, who I think in DFS could be an absolute, bargain or a great possible play.
That Ravens defense is broken too.
Yeah. So last week
defense is super broken.
Look at what Burrow did. They just, granted he did run up the score, like
bro. After the Christmas game with Kyler Murray and the Colts. I benched Kyler Murray after that. I was like, you're not, or no, I benched him before that. I'm sorry. I benched him before that game because of the Lions game.
Yeah.
And I started Burrow.
Oh my God. You talk about lucky. You walk into it. It normally doesn't happen like that.
And I benched James Robinson for Alexander Madison.
Oh, well, that's
and he tore his Achilles in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And then I started Justin Jackson too.
Talk about hitting it all across the board.
That was some MVP level GM moves right there.
Yeah, man. Like last week, I was stuck because I lost. Oh wow, I can't even put a lineup in. I lost Travis Kelce, I lost Godwin, and then I lost Hill. Hill came back. I put him back into my lineup. My opponent took Burrow out of his lineup to put Mahomes back in. But I lost by like 3 or 4 points, and it's really because Tyreek Hill threw up the worst game of his season.
What did Mahomes score last week?
He had like 20. I want to say like 24, maybe.
I know they blew out the Steelers, but I didn't think Mahomes had like a crazy game.
He didn't. He did not. But the biggest issue was how bad Tyreek Hill played, and it totally burned me.
Tyreek Hill's been a huge letdown this year, and honestly, Travis Kelce has too. There's been a couple of games where Travis Kelce was just a demon.
Bro, the one game he was a demon, or his best game of the year, I was on bye. So I'm watching Hill and Kelce go off on bye, and I'm just like, please save some. Please
against
save
the Chargers.
Some. Yeah, and then ever since that, I got nothing. So I when my team was going off, I felt it. I'm like, I'm gonna get fucked. And it started with Godwin fucking hurting himself. I was just like, so by the end, I was basically down my top 4 picks because Kelce was out, Godwin was out. I'm missing Woods, and I was just left with one other guy. So I was kind of in a bad situation, but congratulations to my friend that made it to the championship. The COVID crazies are really what change a lot of things because shit could happen any week.
Same thing that happened with the COVID report.
Yeah, look at what happened in Minnesota. So, Kirk Cousins went down via COVID. And if you are a roster of Justin Jefferson, you do have to feel a little bit worried, but it's impossible to bench him. You cannot bench Justin Jefferson by any shape of the imagination. So, you're going to have to roll with the punches and see. He's been one of your top guys all season, and you just got to hope for the best. But one situation that I am interested in is the one that happens in the 49ers. So, Jimmy G is out this week. You're looking at Trey Lance starting at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
With Trey Lance at quarterback, we don't expect him to throw as much because they're going to be running the ball more.
Right.
How do you feel about guys like Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle this week?
I think it's going to be hit or miss because I think there will be some designed runs in there.
And it's versus Dallas, so it's not like it's a
No, it's not versus Dallas.
Oh no, you're right. We're talking about damn, I just lost my train of thought. We're talking about San Francisco. Where's San Francisco at? Houston. Well, it is versus Houston.
Yeah.
Good.
Houston's, a little sore in my heart right now. But I do still think that the 49ers are hot, and regardless of the quarterback, they'll probably win. Because I don't think they, a lot of their key starters are still in, like Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
I think that there will probably be a lot of designed runs for Trey Lance.
I do agree.
But at the same time, I think that he's going to throw the ball.
Yeah.
He might not throw it a lot, but I think that Deebo Samuel is going to torch that defense.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing I'm a little weary of, though, because I don't see Trey Lance as being a guy that throws the ball enough to be effective. And if you're Houston, and Houston was playing good defense the last couple of weeks, if you key in on Deebo, you make Ayuk and Kittle try to beat you, and you know that that Trey Lance isn't that good. I think this could be a game where you lean on Eli Mitchell, and I think some of these San Francisco guys might be throwing duds up. I think Deebo is in that same situation, though, as the guy we had just mentioned before, where you can't bench him and you can't take him out of your lineup, Justin Jefferson. And with the fact they use him as a running back in some of these situations, I think Deebo is a safe play, but I'm very worried about Ayuk. And if you have another play instead of Ayuk, I think this is the week you pivot off him, because he's been pretty good. He's caught a couple. He was saved last week by catching a last-minute touchdown, but I think you pivot off Ayuk this week.
I'm looking at some analytics for Deebo Samuel. It's tough to find something from, the last couple of days, but just, a month ago, Deebo Samuel was leading the league in yards per catch with 18 yards per catch.
Yep.
And leading the league in yards per touch.
Yeah. And the thing about it is he's gotten so much more volume at running back over that period of time while Eli was out. Now, I believe that Eli Mitchell is back this week, if I remember correctly. Let's pull him up here. Eli Mitchell. Let's see here. Listed as questionable. Hasn't played since week 13. I think he's going to be available. I think it is a big Eli Mitchell game. If you've been waiting and sitting on him, it's a week you go back and play him. I think that you're going to see Deebo probably used as a running back somewhat this week. I think that they're going to run like crazy this week.
Yeah.
It's going to be
they probably will, because I think Trey Lance, the last couple of times, he played, 2 times this year, I think?
Yep.
He wasn't terrible, but he's definitely not he's not somebody you want in fantasy.
You know what? He's someone that you'd want in fantasy, for the fact that he runs so much.
Yeah.
It's like he has a safe floor, but in real life, or like if you have a wide receiver option, you have to be a little bit nervous, because if he's only throwing for like 200 type yards with no touchdowns, you're looking at a scary day. Like, especially if you're depending on guys like Kittle and Ayuk, because you got to wonder how much volume will they be able to get in a attack like that. I think that's the biggest question that we're really going to have going into this game. I think for DFS, he's interesting.
Speaking of wide receivers, a quick shout out to that. Did you see that Ohio State game yesterday?
I didn't see the Ohio State game. No.
Did you see the stat line?
I saw some kid did something crazy, but I didn't.
He got 346 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Bro.
And he's like a third string wide receiver because their first 2 opted out.
Damn.
I was blown away by that.
Bro, that's one thing about football is like that
especially
next
college.
man up, like your opportunity to shine. I feel like a guy that's been really living that up is Braxton Barrios.
Yes.
Like, all those guys from the Jets been down. Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. He's been a special teamer. And he just keeps showing glimpses of greatness, finding a way to get into the end zone, doing whatever it's possible. He's just been a sneaky guy lately. Now they are facing the Bucs, but the Bucs defense isn't anything really right now that you're too afraid of. And hopefully, I think he might be a nice little Hail Mary throw.
That Bucs defense does still have a little bit of a big playability against anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Jets too. Yeah. But Zach Wilson did make a couple of nice runs last week, though.
I saw that. He got it was like a 57, I think. 57 yards.
Yeah, and then he had a touchdown run too, and he made a couple guys miss. He put his body out there. I think it was really interesting to see him, but also at the same point in time, I don't think he made any plays with his arm that really made you say like, "Oh my God." Right. So it's a game also where I think Michael Carter could be an interesting play where you've had him on the bench, or you're looking for a play in DFS that might be an upside guy. I think Carter's an interesting guy today.
The Bucks just lost Levante David a couple weeks ago too.
Yeah,
for the season.
And look at that. He rushed 16 times for 118 yards. He only caught 2 of his 3 targets, which means he's not that involved in the passing game, but they are going to run, and they ran, pretty good in that last game. So, it was Jacksonville. We have to keep that in mind, but
their defense has shown flashes though, like against the Bills.
Yeah, they did. They have.
The Bills, they played,
and they stopped the run. So it's not like they aren't terrible.
But now, also, if you're playing PPR, 2 catches isn't horrible if you have a running back in the lineup. Yeah. If it's full point PPR, that's 2 points right there.
Yeah, that hurts a lot. But the only thing that can make up for it is if he finds his way into the end zone or has a significant volume, which, I mean, when you get that kind of yardage, 112 yards, that would be what we would assume significant volume if you're able to get up there. Obviously, you break off a couple of big runs. You get there by, hook or by crook. You get a good a chunk above 100 yards. You'll be solid enough in PPR, but you're right. You need that solid floor of the pass catching, and that's what Eckler has. And if you look at the guy who replaced him last week as well, Justin Jackson, he was the filling guy. How many catches did he have last week? Like almost 7 or 8?
He had, I think it was 7 catches, 95 yards, and then 2 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah, so
on I think 50 or 60 yards.
Yeah, so that's kind of like your dream PPR running back, like dream of. It's like, okay, yeah, you'll get your 50, 60 yards, but you're going to catch the ball 7, 8 times. You're going to maybe get a touchdown or 2. That's what Alvin Kamara was famous for doing. When you look at a guy like JT, he pretty much survives off of just being able to pound that rock in there and be able to just consistently rush. Because if you look at his receptions, while he gets some receptions, you only see there's been 2 games that he's had over 3 receptions, or 3 games that he's had over 3 receptions. It's been mostly his running and his touchdowns, because he had almost a touchdown every game.
If you look at his schedule, it doesn't matter who he's playing.
Yeah,
he's gonna get a 100-yard game most of the time.
Yeah,
you can't go wrong with JT. I think JT will probably be the second running back drafted next year.
I worry about the way the league has gone between injuries and committees and everything that could possibly happen. Like, God forbid they get a new quarterback, and now the new quarterback isn't so dependent on the run. Now everything changes, or he gets hurt in his first 2 weeks. Like, nowadays, man, I don't even know, bro. This shit is all wild and crazy. And like, are we really gonna take him over Cook at this point? Probably. Is he gonna probably go in the top 5? More than likely. I think that's a foregone conclusion. I think it's a question if he goes 1, 2, or 3, and then it's going to be, can he hold up? Because you figure Henry's going to be back, and Henry's an absolute monster.
I think Henry will go number 1 in most leagues.
And then McCaffrey, after being hurt the last 2 years, will probably drop off. But then you have his true believers that understand, like, well, the guy can do everything. And in PPR, you want to catch monster. And then Alvin Kamara, God forbid the fucking Saints could figure this shit out over there and get him back involved. But
I think Alvin Kamara will be good once Jameis Winston's back.
Yeah, I think
Jameis Winston is a huge piece of that offense, and he, I would say he bounced between average and above average in the Bucs system.
Yeah,
but he's got Sean Payton there.
Yeah, and he did good. They were winning.
Yeah, they were 5-2 before he got hurt.
Right. I think just the biggest question was, with the way he plays, it just doesn't lend itself to like getting him that fantasy value. In real life, he was running the ball a lot better. And he was dominating like Alvin Kamara. He was still a top flight back. But for fantasy purposes, I think, a guy like Austin Eckler pushes himself up into the top 5 next year.
Yeah, I think my top 5 for next year is going to be, and this doesn't have to be in any specific order, but Henry, Taylor, Cook, Kamara, and Eckler.
Yeah,
I think Saquon pushed himself out of the first round completely.
I think the way that the Giants organization is as a whole has pushed him out of the first round, because like we see glimpses of Saquon, but then he can't sustain it. And then you think about it, is it the way the scheme is being built? Has he lost it? And then you'll see a play that he makes and you're like, wow, he hasn't lost it. The throw was behind him. He caught it with 2 fingers, then was able to like make a juke and a cut. And it's like, okay, I almost feel like the scheme is the biggest thing that holds Saquon Barkley back. So I want to say like I want to see what they do on the offensive coordinator side and what they do as the coach, the head coach. If they change things up, I think that's the only thing that can probably push Saquon back into maybe the back half of the first round.
Yeah.
Like I could see him coming in like a JT where, people were high on him early, then they faded him. And then by the end of the draft process, I think he was going at the back half of the first round in most leagues, start of the second round. He started off JT as a fan favorite, and he faded. I think that's kind of like the overall of Barkley. Started off as a fan favorite. He was great. He's delivered results. He's faded back now. I think he's pretty much gone as low as he's going to get. And if the Giants make some right moves, I think he'll push the needle back towards the first round because his talent is undeniable. It's just situation
absolutely.
And what's around him.
Absolutely. Especially it's all speculation at this point right now. Yeah. But if Russell Wilson goes to New York, that's going to be huge for Saquon.
Yeah. And
Saquon can catch passes out of the backfield,
bro.
Having Russell Wilson there, it's just going to help him overall.
Yeah, it changes, and then he's also, Russell Wilson is someone that understands defenses. Where like Daniel Jones, I don't think he's gotten to that point yet, where it's like, hey, let me check into a run on the left side because Saquon's going to be able to catch that, or call the protections out in order to move the line in a way that's going to cover him in order to get those couple of extra yards that Saquon's just not getting because he doesn't have any holes. So I think that level of QB can only help a guy like Saquon Barkley.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's like that for a lot of offensive positions as far, like the center. The center can help your quarterback an insane amount. An insane amount. Like when the Chargers got Corey Linsley, that was huge. That was huge for Justin Herbert. And the same thing with quarterbacks. Like your quarterback can help every position on that field just from what he knows and what he understands about defenses. I think the next year's draft is going to be crazy.
Yeah. And when you think about for the Giants, having all that draft capital, I think just puts them in a position where you can make a trade for a Russell Wilson and not necessarily be like, hurting. Yes, you'll deal some pieces. Team. Yeah. Because even if you deal the pieces, you still need a leader to take command of the ship and actually make the guys play better than they have. And I think one player that we have to look at that next season probably won't be in the first round will be Ezekiel Elliott too. I don't see him.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either. My personal opinion about him, I think he's the most overrated starting running back in the league.
I've been crying that for a while. Now, I'll tell you this, though. Wide receivers are going to push up and tight ends are going to push down.
Yeah.
I think you'll see guys like Justin Jefferson, Kupp.
He'll go in the first round. Both of them will go in the first round. I think.
You've seen it. More traditionally, it's been getting the running backs early and often because they're such workhorse positions. But with everything going to such, committee approaches, you can't get a workhorse who's going to be sustainable. Like, yes, that's why Derrick Henry is going to go number 1. Yes, that's why Jonathan Taylor is going to go number 2. Yes, that's why Najee Harris might go in the first round, even though he hasn't been as productive, quote unquote.
I think he'll be very productive next season with Big Ben gone.
I think that'll help.
You got to keep an eye on that quarterback spot.
They got to get some offensive line help, though. That offensive line was a big issue.
That's true. Yeah.
And then if you're going to get, let's just say the rumors are Aaron Rodgers, how do you have anything left over to fix the offensive line?
Right, because he's going to want money.
Yeah, and he's gonna command some picks because I think he's under contract for one more year, or they have his like what is it? It's not salary cap, the franchise tag option available on him. There's so many things that they could do just to fuck him. So
that's an interesting thing too. I was talking to my brother about it. Really, honestly, all season since the off season. Yeah, and I think if for the Packers, it's interesting for the Packers because if Aaron Rodgers leaves, Devontae Adams is going to be gone.
Yep. Gone.
He's not going to stay there and play with Jordan Love.
And there was already
no hate on Jordan Love, but he's going to want to go play with the quarterback that he knows is going to to
Yep,
and I'm really hoping he doesn't want to go play with his college quarterback because I don't want Devontae Adams in the West.
Yeah, that's the rumors. Because imagine that you have that division would have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. You'd have Kelsey and Hill, and then you would have whatchamacallit?
Darren Waller and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, talk about duos, bro. And then you still have everything that you have with the Broncos. The Broncos, to me, are the perfect place if you were going to put Aaron Rodgers somewhere because they have so
that's
many
another
weapons.
thing I don't want to happen. I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. Rodgers, Wilson, Watson. I don't want any of them.
Yeah, like I think that's a team with the Broncos. because Wilson also has them on the list, and so does Watson. Like all the big quarterbacks look at that team and they say, "Wow, you have weapons." Like you know what it reminds me of? Yeah, it reminds me. You know, it reminds me of the Bengals.
Yep.
The Bengals have a young core of weapons, and they have a solid defense that puts it together. Like, you know, you get them a good quarterback, and that sky's the limit for a team like that. Especially,
absolutely.
Especially, I feel like with Watson. Watson is the one guy who, to me, he's the number one quarterback that's available. But the question is just going to be, what is the offseason, speculation on his trial end with? And how does that all come off in the public eye? Because if it comes off bad in the public eye, then, you know, teams like the Giants, they're going to put in for the running, which will eventually lower his value. But let's just say everything ends, you know, behind closed doors and some settlement that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
This dude is going to be pushing for everyone's.
I think regardless of what happens, it'll push his value down, but he's still going to play.
Yeah.
Like there's teams that don't really care what you do.
True.
You know, like the Chiefs with Tyreek Hill.
You're right.
I remember, I think it was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago when, what was his name? Michael Floyd for the Cardinals got arrested, drunk, passed out at a red light. And then the Patriots signed him like 2 days later.
Yep. And it's just a what can you do for me type league where it's like, you even look at Antonio Brown. He was going through all of that, and the Patriots signed him, and then the blowback just got so big where they couldn't hold it anymore.
Yep.
So I do agree with you on that, but I think if Watson doesn't have any of the baggage around him, he's a number one trade target for every team in the NFL. Absolutely. And all the quarterbacks go after him because even as great as Russell Wilson is, Deshaun Watson is younger, and he has
25.
Yeah, like Deshaun Watson is like, that's the guy where I think whatever team ends up getting him, which it could be the Eagles, I feel like, because the Eagles have everything to give to get him. You can give up Hurts, you can give up picks, and then you have Devontae Smith as his number one receiver to go into. Like, I think that's an interesting play. Maybe the Packers, knowing that you're going to lose Aaron Rodgers
might leave. Yeah.
I
personally don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to leave. I think Aaron Rodgers will be there next year. Maybe he'll leave after that. I don't know. But I think that he's going to stick with one more year with the Packers, especially with the way they're playing football right now.
I think that's the one thing is that he has a legit Super Bowl chance right now.
Yeah.
And even though he hates it there, he could screw himself by trying to move out of that situation. So I think that's definitely one thing to watch.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So, man, so much. I love how we went into the offseason already because, it's so many players.
It's the end of the year. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's so crazy, much going on. And one thing I have to say that I'm really loving is that New York is going to have some sports betting coming up soon where I'll be able to actually do like parlay bets like how you guys have and do some of that good stuff for the playoffs. So it'll start getting real fun with that stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to. So my brother bought me and my girlfriend Pro Bowl tickets for Christmas.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so we're going to the Pro Bowl in Vegas this year. I'm pretty pumped about that.
That's fucking awesome.
It's gonna be a good time because I hear it's. I mean, obviously, the game's like the worst part of the Pro Bowl. But you get to watch the little competitions. Hopefully, get something signed. Like I heard it's just a big party.
That's what I heard too. It's like I can't imagine. It's like the draft. Like the draft looks like a fucking huge ass party.
Yep.
Like, I can't even imagine like all the after parties for all the players that are being drafted. Yep. The before parties before they go in.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the pick, like in between picks, the beer chugging and shot loving. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's one.
And I read online that the draft is free to get into.
Yeah.
Like, it's just you can pay money. And you get like some certain perks out of it, but you can just there's like a certain amount of free tickets they give out. You just have to get there early enough to wait in line.
Yeah. That's the one thing though. There's so many passionate fans that they're just like, you see the amount of crowds that are there with all this COVID stuff. It's like, a little scary.
They're letting that stuff in all over the league though. Really, like, there's no social distancing in stadiums. There's I went to the Bengals game on December 5th, and the Bengals Chargers game, and we sat front row, which was awesome, absolutely awesome. But they don't even mandate masks there.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, they don't even mandate masks there. They recommend them. Yeah,
I guess it really depends on where you are, because like in New York, And also it's outside, so I guess you get a little bit
Yeah.
of a reprieve. But in New York, man, this shit is ridiculous. Like,
It's the
and
same in Washington.
you have to be masked to go in anywhere. Like, you have to go, if you want to go into the store, you got to be masked again. So
yeah, I know my sister was telling me in Washington you have to. There's a lot of places in Washington you have to be vaccinated to go in there.
Yes, same here in New York as well. Like I went to go. I was in New York City, and I went to a restaurant, and literally, in order to go in there, they saw almost my whole table's vaccination card. They saw like 5 of them, and they were like, "All right, it's enough. You know, I'll let you guys in." It's like, come on, it's a party of 8 here, and you're literally checking our vaccine cards. And I get it. There's a lot of fear, and we want to be as safe as possible, and everyone has their own way of looking at it. So I'm not going to turn this into a political show and start debating the efficacy of it. But you know, it's just interesting how each stadium has their own procedures to deal with this stuff, and hopefully we don't miss anything in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs. And in the playoff season, we get to see these guys as close to full strength as possible and be able to get some real good football this playoff season.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm
pretty excited.
Yeah, what's your big prediction for today? I know that you have your Chargers, who you need a couple of things to break right for you to make the playoffs.
Yeah. So if we're going through all the games, I have to take Tennessee over Miami, just, for my own personal reasons.
Yeah.
I think Chicago tops the Giants. I do.
Yeah.
New England's gonna probably blow out the Jags.
Yep.
They got a lot of people on COVID reserve right now too, but it's Bill Belichick. You cannot bet against him.
Nope, especially with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep. Against rookie quarterbacks, it's even more insane because they can't do shit versus them.
Right. I think the KC Cincinnati game might be the game of the week.
Of the day. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that might be the game of the week because Kansas City, their defense has stepped up over the last few weeks.
Yep. But
that is such a high-powered offense.
Yep.
That Cincinnati has. I think it's going to be a shootout. It's hard to say that I hope KC wins, but at this point, looking at the way the playoffs are going to break down, I think it's going to be better for the Chargers if KC wins out.
Yep. But they get rid of wild card shots for safety.
Yep. Tampa Bay is obviously going to take out the Jets.
Yep.
Buffalo and Atlanta. I feel like that could be a trap game for Buffalo.
Yep. Atlanta has a weird record because I feel like they're real shit, but they're like playing like one game under 500 or something like that, or one game.
They're probably one of the most inconsistent teams there is. I was so sad when Calvin Ridley left early in the season, and I'm sure they were too.
Yeah, and they're 7-8. Without Calvin Ridley, which is to me pretty astonishing, all things considered, because he's your number one guy. Like they would be better, so much better without him.
Yep,
be with him.
I think the Colts will top the Raiders.
Yep,
I think it might be a low scoring game. Darren Waller's out.
Yep.
Carson Wentz is good now. I still think they're going to lean heavy on Jonathan Taylor.
Yes.
It'll probably be like, I think maybe, 21-14, 21-17 kind of game.
I expect a big Renfro game in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with Waller out.
Yep.
Yeah. I like Taylor Heineke. I think Taylor Heineke is very exciting to watch. But I think the way they played the last couple of weeks, Philly's probably going to win this game.
Really?
With the way that Washington's defense has not played great the last couple of weeks.
Nope.
And if you take out that, I think it was like a 4 or 5 game stretch, their defense hasn't been great all year.
Nope.
So, and I think Philly leads the league in their last, I saw it on their last game. Man, it's like 200 or 176 yards a game on the ground. Something like that.
Oh.
Something like that.
And there's no Antonio Gibson this week as well.
Yeah, that too. That's going to be big. And
I'm actually starting Philly defense as my defense in DFS this week.
I'm starting them in my other league, actually.
Yeah. I think it's a good matchup for them, all things considering.
Absolutely.
Like you said.
And Taylor Heineke's so inconsistent. So he could be incredible or he could just be terrible like he was last week at Dallas.
Yep. Agreed.
But the Rams, I think the Rams will win with no Lamar. I think San Francisco is going to take it. I think the Chargers are going to take it with how many people are on the Denver's COVID list and how many Chargers are not on the COVID list anymore. And they have a real bounce back opportunity right here. I'm hoping that Brandon Staley can finish them off. Arizona and Dallas, another possible shootout. Arizona's been cold. Dallas has been hot.
They have.
Dallas has been hot. I think I want Arizona to win because I have my own personal opinion about Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
But it's going to be close, I think. But I do think Dallas is going to come out on top.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, man. The Cardinals have been such a disappointment, especially with Kyler Murray and Hopkins being huge busts, I would say, at this point. It's via injury in a lot of these cases, so it's hard to, you can't be mad at them for being hurt. They can't control that, but you can be mad at yourself for picking the guy that got hurt, right?
Yep.
So that's how it works.
I think New Orleans will take care of business in Carolina, and then I think Detroit is going to beat Seattle.
Oh, no.
I think Detroit is going to beat Seattle.
No.
I think so.
Oh, no.
Is Goff in? I don't remember. Is Goff in? He's not playing this week, is he?
Let's see. Oh,
I just think Seattle's got a lot of drama going on right now, and I don't think they're going to be. No, he's
back
out.
in quarterback life.
He's going to be out.
Yep.
But I think Seattle's got a lot of drama going on right now.
Yeah,
and they're already eliminated from the playoffs.
Yep.
So are the Lions, but it's a tough choice. But I do think that with DeAndre Swift back on the Lions and the way Amon-Ra St. Brown's playing, and really, if you look at every single game this season, the Lions are always in it.
Yep,
they're always in it.
They are.
They're
a lovable loser. They'll compete to the very end, and then all of a sudden, it's no bueno.
Yep.
But
it's classic Jared Goff.
Yeah. I will say this, though. In my opinion, this is the last game for Russell Wilson as a Seattle Seahawk.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think he might be playing for something today, which does tend to tilt the scale a little bit. Yeah, well, contract or, kind of like a send-off so they have good memories of him before he leaves.
Yeah.
Penny has been hot. I think, I'm not going to lie. The Seattle team was a team that I liked their schedule coming down the end for the fantasy playoff purposes.
Yep.
And I'm still going to ride with them. I think they're going to beat the Lions. I think that Penny's going to put up another 100-yard plus game. And I think that actually Russell Wilson's going to cook in his final game before he becomes a Giant.
Well, I won't be mad at that because I do got Tyler Lockett starting today.
Bro, I can't lie, though. DK Metcalf fell off a fucking cliff.
Huge letdown.
Huge
letdown.
And a portion of
a couple of weeks ago, I had benched Tyler Lockett for DK Metcalf, and it was the week that Tyler Lockett. I can't remember what team they played. Let me pull it up real quick.
Oh, it was the week that Lockett went off for
against Houston.
Yeah,
he got 33 points. And I had DK Metcalf on the starting roster, and he got.
Houston loves you, Chargers guys.
Yeah, I guess. DK Metcalf got 4 points.
Yeah,
I was mad. I was mad.
I remember that because I benched him in another league because I'm like, oh, he's been trash. It's Geno Smith. And then all of a sudden, Geno Smith just became hyper targeted on Lockett, and the rest is history. Yeah, bro. Yeah. So trust me, I know what you mean, man. It's a cruel world out here. You make one little bad move where it's like, okay, I'm going to start the number one wide receiver instead of number two, and you end up regretting it the next day. So I think then my last question before we end this out is, who's that guy this week that you think you're going to regret starting?
Regret starting.
Yeah, you can't bench him, but you got to start him, but you're going to regret starting him.
Let's see. I feel like
I'll go first so that you get
go ahead.
I'm going to say it's Deebo Samuels. I'm worried about him this week. Houston's defense has been, pretty solid. Deebo, I don't think is going to be getting peppered with as many throws. It's going to come down to if he's able to get the good run game in, and Eli Mitchell is going to be playing. So I think his carries will be a little bit limited. So I think Deebo Samuel is going to be the guy that I'm going to say here.
I think that there's a couple of players that come to mind, and two of them play for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
Oh, I regretted him last week.
It's Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. You cannot bench them.
Nope, you can't.
You cannot bench them. But there's just been so many games this year where they have just been huge disappointments. And the last one is Kyler Murray.
Oh God, yeah.
Kyler Murray, you can't bench him if you don't have a better option at backup. I have Joe Burrow, so I'm good there. But
oh God,
you can't bench Kyler Murray if you have some, like Tyler Huntley or Taylor Heineke or like Baker Mayfield. You have to start Kyler.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, against that Dallas defense, I think a lot of people are going to regret starting him.
Yep. And Dallas defense, has been great this season. Kyler Murray has been trending down, especially with no Hopkins, so he doesn't really have the weapons that he's used to having. Or even. I mean, Kirk shows flashes more. I don't think he was what we thought he would be. AJ Green looks like he's lost a step. That's one team where we desperately hope that they make some plays in the offseason to get him some more weapons.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, let's face it, you're talking about Joe Burrow as a better option than Kyler Murray. Like, come on, man. That's how far he's fallen. Because Kyler Murray was pretty much almost the consensus, like top 3, pick.
Early in the season, he was the front runner for the MVP. 6-7 straight weeks.
Yep. Oh, we got a question here. So we got Keenan or Swift. I think Keenan Allen probably would be a safer bet for me than Swift, just because, well, if it's PPR or standard, that's another big consideration. If it's PPR, I'm gonna probably go Keenan. Swift, I would say, would be in standard, just because you generally trust the running back more than a wide receiver in standard.
In the standard leagues, yeah. I think, like you said, in PPR, Keenan is obviously the safer bet because he eats those targets. And that Justin Herbert's got I think a third string tight end starting now because Jared Cook's on COVID. Mike Williams is just coming off the COVID list, and he's his ceiling is insane, but his floor is so low. Mike Williams could come out with no catches or one catch for 10 yards, but Keenan Allen is almost guaranteed 7, 8, 9 targets per game. DeAndre Swift is coming off an injury, so you got to look at that. You got to think about that. They are playing against Seattle, and Seattle's defense has been, kind of porous this season. But I think I'll lean towards Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen's going to have a decent game today against Denver, because especially against that defense. That's a good defense, even though they got a couple players out. But Justin Herbert's going to be relying on Mr. Reliable.
Oh, someone is questionable right now. Hold on, let me see here. Offensive tackle for the Chiefs. That's another thing. There's no CEH this week for the Chiefs. So fire up Darrell Williams if you got him.
Yeah. I tried to pick him up earlier this week and somebody else got him. So I was in last place on the waiver wire with a 12-2 record.
Oh my God. Now, one thing that I got to say is, how do you feel about auction waivers versus doing the standard, pick by pick?
I like them because one of the leagues I'm in does the auction, and then the other one does just regular, like if it's based off of how you're playing, what position you're in. I like the auction waivers because it gives, as long as you're smart with the money through the course of the season, it gives you a chance to get somebody, some sleeper off waivers, even if you're playing great, but Travis Kelce's out this week and this guy's on waivers. It gives you a chance rather than some guy who's won 2 games all year that picks him up because he's first on the waiver list. I like that.
Or you see a running back that you might need in 3 weeks, but he's kind of there.
Alexander Madison.
Like, oh my God, I got Cook. I'm fucked. Well, you know what? Here goes all my full budget, so I'm not fucked. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It kind of like almost a little bit of another level of strategy that you add to this great game that we have.
I picked up Madison probably 6 weeks ago, and he's been on my bench when Cook's playing ever since. I just stash him. He's probably the best stash player there is. Now.
I think that next season we're going to see a lot more of that stuff. Definitely.
Absolutely.
But all right, it's game time. Get set, get ready, and let's go.
Yes, sir.
All right, my brother. It's been fun. Until next time, we'll maybe do something during the playoffs for some of these great prop bets and parlays, and have a little fun.
I'll be putting those in.
Oh yeah, I know. I see it. That's why I'm like, especially when they're coming here to New York, I'm gonna try to give it a go, and we'll have the screen up, and we'll be able to go through everything and have a little fun with it.
All right, brother.
I appreciate it, brother. You have a wonderful day, and go Chargers.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll see you.
Bro. See you later, man. All right, peace out, everybody.